Hello, you are welcome to the channel. This is Odum Business Consult. Today we are going to look at a practical question under trading profit and loss account. So by the end of this video, you'll be able to solve a very comprehensive question under trading profit and loss account. The question that we are going to look at is what you see on the screen. It starts from here and it ends somewhere this section. Okay, so it is Wasime June 2009 financial accounting question. Okay, so it is a complete set of questions under trading profit and loss account. So if you don't have a copy of the question, you can pause the video and you have a copy of yourself you can have a copy of the question yourself so that you can follow me through the lesson. I'm your regular tutor, Sir Francis. So the question is, first let's look at the requirement. The question says that you have to present or prepare trading profit or loss account for the year ended June 30th 2007 and a balance sheet as at that date. Okay, if you get something like this in trading profit and loss account in examination, don't rush the question. Don't just start answering it without going through the question and see the technicality of the question and how you can go about. So as a student, my advice for you is to take your time. You don't rush in financial accounting. If you are to get a good grade in financial accounting, don't rush in the examination hall. Okay, some students, the moment they get the question, without even going through the question and looking at the requirements and the technicality of it, they will just start answering it. If you do that in accounting, you will stuck somewhere and you get confused. And because we are dealing with figures or money or amount in financial accounting, if you get confused in one stage, it will affect the rest of your presentation. Okay, so in examination, you don't rush. First thing to do is to read the question and look at the requirements. And a question like this, pay attention to the additional information, or otherwise known as the footnote. Okay, that's where the additional information will give you a hint as to what to do in the final presentation or in the final answer that you present to the examiner. Okay, to give you a gist as to what to do in the account. So you pay attention to this particular section when you are solving trading profit or loss account. So let's go through the question together. I made a little change about the company's name. Okay, so the name is not what you get on the original question, but the figures, everything is the same. Okay, the only changes that I made was the name of the company. So the following trial balance was extracted from the books of Becky Limited on 30th June 2007. And you have your sales, you have your purchases, you have your freehold building at cost, which is fixed assets. You have freehold land, which is also a fixed asset. You have your capital, you have an investment, you have bank overdrafts, you have trade creditors, we have trade debtors, we have 5% loan, discount allowed, discount received, and so on and so forth. Okay, so as I said, if you don't have the question, just pause the video and have a copy of the question yourself. And this is the additional information. So as I said earlier on, you pay much attention to this section when you are solving a question under trading profit or loss account. So the additional information says that the first one, we have to write off 5,000 cedis as bad debt. We have to provide for doubtful debt, which is 5% of trade debtors. Miscellaneous expenses prepaid at 30th June amounted to 2,000 Ghana cedis in June 2007. Administration expenses accrued at 30th June 2007 is also 4,500 cedis. A year interest on loan due and unpaid. Stock at 30th June 2007, which is decreasing stock, is also 460,000 cedis. And you have to provide for depreciation on the fixed asset as follows: 5% for freehold building on cost, and 10% for features and fittings on cost. Okay, so this is the additional information for the trial balance that you see over here. Okay, so the additional information tells us some of the things that you have to make on these figures that you see over here. Okay, we have to make some workings or some adjustments on some of these items that has been presented on the trial balance. Okay, so as I said, you have to consider the additional information, and it's very vital for you to get the right thing when you are doing trading profit or loss accounts. So without wasting much time, let's see what we can do. So I'll open my solution board. I'm going to use Excel for you. You can choose to use your notebook or your jotter, whatever that you wish to use. It is acceptable. The focus here is to understand whatever that we are doing over here. Now, this information at the end of the, or after this trial balance was extracted, okay, we know that trial balance we extracted at the end of the accounting year. So from the question, you could see that the end or the accounting year for Becky Limited is 30th June 2007. So this trial balance was presented or was prepared by the accountant of this company at the end of the accounting year, which is 30th June 2007. Okay, so after it was presented, it was later got to the attention of the accountant that 5,000 cedis cannot be recovered from our debtors. Okay, so let's look at the debtors figure from the trial balance. We are having about 165,000 as debtors figure. So it has come to the attention of the accountant that out of that figure, 5,000 cannot be recovered from the debtors. Okay, they will fail to pay. Okay, the debtors, some of them will fail to pay an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis from, or cannot be collected from the debtors. And because business normally sells on credit, they have this kind of risk. Okay, if you sell something on credit for somebody, not all the money that you'll be expecting from some of your debtors will be collected or will be recovered. Some of them will fall or will fail to make payments when it is due to bankruptcy, or maybe due to debt, or any other reasons. Okay, so businesses always have some kind of risk when they sell goods on credit to customers. some of the customers may not be able to pay the amount due them. So when you take this company for instance, it got to the attention of the accountant that this amount cannot be corrected from the debtors figure that we see over here. So if at the end of the accounting year we cannot collect an amount of 5,000 from this figure, then per the accounting principle, the matching concept and that of the prudent, we are to disclose all the necessary expenses or losses that we are expecting to incur within the accounting year. So within this accounting year, which is 30th June 2007, it has got to our attention that we cannot collect this amount, and for that matter we have to take it from our debtors figure. We have to reduce the amount that we are expecting from our debtors, and this amount should also appear on the profit and loss account, because per the prudent concept, accountants are to make provision for expected losses, and they are not also expected to overstate profits. Okay, they are being mandated by the prudent concept that if there is an expected losses, if there is an anticipation for future loss, they shouldn't hesitate to include it in the profit and loss account. And this one is a loss because we sold something costing, let's say, 5,000 to a customer, and the customer has refused or will not be able to pay such amount to the company. You see, the company is running at a loss, or is going to lose that amount, the goods that they sold to that customer. They're going to lose it, and it's a loss. And because it's a loss, it should be included in our profit or loss account. So this figure will also go to our profit or loss account, and at the same time the debtors figure will be reduced by 5,000 in the balance sheet. Okay, because this cannot be recovered from the 165,000 that we are expecting from our debtors, this figure. Okay, so 5,000 out of this can't be recovered, so this figure needs to be reduced to reflect the actual amount that we are expecting from our debtors. So without much ado, let's see how we can do that in our solution. So always a question like this, you should have a section for workings. Okay, so here we can write workings 1 so that the examiner can know where certain figure is coming from. So here workings 1, we open your debtors account. You open your debtors account because you have to reduce the account by that bad debt that we cannot recover. Okay, so here we have it like that. I open my debtors account. So we have to indicate the currency sign. My currency sign is Ghana cedis. It's very necessary. If you don't do that, you lose some marks in the examination. So here we have balance brought forward from the trial balance. So we can write trial balance from the trial balance. The amount is how much? So let's check once again. The amount is trade debtors 165,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, so we just write it 165,000 Ghana cedis. So let me format it. Okay, now we are saying that out of this amount 5,000 cannot be recovered. It should be written as bad debt. Okay, you should write 5,000 out of the 165,000 as bad debt. So how do you write it off? You don't just cancel in accounting, you have to use the right recording. So here, if you have to reduce a debit balance of trade debtors, then what you have to do is to credit the account. So here you write bad, you write bad debt, which is 100 and bad debt is 5,000. Okay, 5,000. Let me format it. Then you have to, once you do this, you have to also open bad debt account, because you will need it. At the end of the day, you have to close this account and transfer them to the profit and loss account. So in the examination, present your answers like this. So workings 2, you have to name your workings so that the examiner will know where some figures are coming from. Okay, so here you give a reference to that in your solution, in your actual presentation. So here we have our bad debt account. So here I'm gonna open it nicely. Then I have my this one too. Then I have it like this. So indicate your currency sign, which is Ghana cedis. Don't forget to do that. We have our Ghana cedis. Now if we have a debit entry, we have a credit entry here, then the corresponding debit entry will be in this account. Okay, we debited the debtors account in the name of bad debt. So if you are doing the corresponding double entry principle, every credit entry has a corresponding debit entry. I hope you have not forgotten that. So here we write debtors. Okay, we have debtors and the amount is 5,000. So easy and simple, right? If you don't understand it, then leave them in the comment section. Okay, we are just using the accounting principle to do the recording. Do your or present your answers like this. This is working. It is not part of the actual solution, but if you don't do this, you can't get the right figure to be presented in the trading profit or loss account. So in the examination, we start with the workings, and the workings will be around this information, the additional information or the footnotes, which is the trading profit and loss account question. Okay, always start with the workings when you are doing with trading profit or loss account. I keep on repeating that. Some students will just be presenting, or they will just come and pick the figures from here and send it to the trading profit and loss account. If you do that, you get with some of the figures wrong. Okay, because the additional information will throw more light on what to do on some of the items presented over here. So always start with the additional information, which is the workings. So the second one is provide for doubtful debt. So provision for doubtful debt is to be made at 5% of trade debtors. So as I said, the prudent, it entreats accountant to make provision for unanticipated losses. So as a business, you sell goods on credit to your customers. It is obvious that, or per past practices, it becomes obvious to the business that some of the amount that we'll be expecting from the customers will not be collected or will not be recovered based on previous experiences. So as an accountant, what do you have to do? If you know that certain things are bound to happen or it is likely to happen, then you have to make provision. So that's why the accountant for this business has made a provision that together with management, they've estimated that 5% of trade debtors always will become bad debt. So you have to make provision for that. Okay, so if you provide for that, so that if the actual figures becomes unrecovered, we are not going to make any much losses because we've already make a provision for that. If at the end of the day they all make the payment, well, it becomes a bonus to us. but we don't know what will happen in the near future. We don't know whether they will pay or not. As a business, we always make provision for such situation. And also per the question, we have to provide 5% of the debtors figure as what we are providing for bad debt. If in case they don't pay, we've already catered for that. So let's see how we can also do that. So what you have to do here, first you open. So here we have our working free. The reason why I'm naming it because we give a reference to it in the actual or the actual presentation. So here we have to open our provision for bad debt account, for bad debt. Bad debt. So we have it like this. So here gonna open our coming. So we have it. Okay, button like this. And I have this one too here. Left border. Okay. So as I said, don't forget your currency sign. Don't forget your currency sign. So now after opening your provision for doubtful debt account, what you have to do is to go back to the question. So here the trial balance, we have provision. So you have to check if there is a provision. So in the previous accounting year, this is the total amount that we have provided for. We have made a provision for this in the previous accounting year, so it has been catered for in the previous accounting year. So here this balance, because it is at the credit side, you transfer it from here to the credit side of the provision for that for debt account. So here the balance brought forward. Okay, balance brought forward. Balance brought forward. The amount is how much? 9,000, right? 9,000. See this? 9,000 cedis. Let me format it. Okay, so let's check if it is 9,000 cedis. Provision for that for the yes, 9,000. So just copy it from here and paste it at the credit side of the account, because it is being found at the credit side of the account in the trial balance. So this is the credit side of the trial balance. Okay, here is the credit side and this is the debit side. Don't forget that. I know you know the format, so you just copy from here and come and paste it in that account. Now let's come to the actual question for provision. Said we should make what, 5% of trade debtors. So 5% of this should be made as provision for bad debt. So 5% of this amount, which is 165,000. So if you find 5%, punch it on your calculator. So 5 over 100 times 165,000. So we are getting 8,250 as provision. So here, come here, and that amount will become balance brought down. Okay, this figure will be the balance brought down at the credit side of the account. So this is what you do. Just write here balance carried down. because the drawdown is supposed to be at the other side of the account. So here, write balance. This is how you do it. The one that the 10% that we got. So balance. So carry down. And what did you get? Using the 5% on the 165,000, I had 8250 cedis. I hope you also got the same thing. So let me format it like this. So now what we have to do, okay, wait, we come back to it later when we are done with all the adjustments needed in the question. All these accounts that you see over here, we have to close them. So here, obviously, if the carry down is here, it means the drawdown will also come in. So let's write it first. We close the account later. Balance brought down. Balance brought down. We have, so here, if the carry down is, obviously the drawdown will come to the opposite side, and the amount is how much? 8,250 cedis. Okay, so later when you close the account, you know where the difference will go to, so don't worry, we'll come back to it later. And I believe you are following me throughout the presentation. If you find anything difficult, leave them in the comment section. Okay, this is how you are supposed to present your answer for trading profit and loss accounting examination. First, do the workings first, then from there you transfer the figures to trading profit or loss account. Then from there you go to your balance sheet and you are good to go. But some people, they will not do that. They will just pick the question straight away and present it in the trading profit and loss account. No, if you do it that way, you get everything or some of the figures wrong. So you have to do the workings first, and the workings has to do with the additional information on the question or the footnote here. If you're able to get the workings over here right, in fact you are likely to get 100% on trading profit and loss accounts. Okay, so in examination, after going through the question and knowing the technicality of the whole thing, the first thing to do is to start with your workings, and the workings should be part of your solution, because the examiners will look at that, and you have to number your workings. We have workings 1, workings 2, workings 3, so that we can give a reference to some of these items over here in your final presentation, so that the examiner will know that, oh yeah, this figure is coming from this workings, that figure is coming from that account. Okay, if you don't do it that way, your answers will become very cumbersome and the examiner wouldn't know what to do, and it's likely you lose some vital marks. Okay, so you have to present your solution or your answer in this manner. Thank you very much for being with me. I'll end this presentation here and I'll continue with the rest of the lesson later. Stay tuned. Make sure if you have not subscribed to the channel, you do that, so that if I bring the continuation of this wonderful presentation or this video, you get a notification for that. Comment if you have any issue, or if you have any suggestion for me, or if you have any question that you want me to solve. Comment or leave it in the comment section, and share the videos with your friends so that they can also benefit from this channel. Once again, thank you for being with me. See you soon.